Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Miss Risa, or good afternoon, or good day. I will be your One Visit featured webinar host for the topic of Flipgrid, empowering students' physical education experiences. So, I have been using Flipgrid for 3 years now. I have started since 2017. And so I will let you go through the specific ways of using Flipgrid. So this is me. As you can see, I'm a phys teacher from De La Salle Santiago Sobel. So our goals for today will start with knowing the basic functions of Flipgrid. Second is how to maximize the features of the application that will empower ourselves as teachers and our students in their learning experiences in a distance learning setup, and then respond to a Flipgrid topic. And lastly is you have to create a Flipgrid introductory activity. So when you access Flipgrid, both in the application and in the web browser using your laptop, you will be directed to this page. As you can see, you see here the flip code over here and educator login, and the ones hiding I covering through my camera is the educator sign up, which is the most important part. So in this session, I'm going to let you go through each letter of the word Flipgrid and how to anchor it in our learning experiences, or as we plan the learning experiences for our students. So the first one is that, of course, I know you would agree with me, we have to form positive relationships with our students. One moment. There. So, how do we do that? How do we make sure that we form positive relationships with our students? So, using Flipgrid, one moment. There. So, using Flipgrid, through this application, we will be able to get to know our students through the video responses they will be sharing to us or with us. So, but us teachers will have to encourage them to do this. So, for example, your students do not have access to internet or tablet or whatever, then it's for us teachers to use it for showcasing what we know, what we want to share with them, so the skills that we want to teach, everything. So it doesn't have to be student based, it can also be about your teaching plans, activities, things like that. And then the next one that we have to would be letter L, to look out for learning opportunities for our students. So, what are those learning opportunities that might come out when we use Flipgrid? So, there's skill development, number one, and then it can also be used as goal directed tasks. So, make sure you gave specific instructions. And then lastly, but the most important for me, character building. So whether they are experiencing, I mean, learning tasks or activities or accomplishing them, we have to make sure that they adhere, or that we develop their character as a person, as a student, because we know that these students will somehow lead our country or lead the school or the community. So it's important that even if we give simple learning tasks in our class, we develop character building. Then the next one, we include interests of your students. I know everyone with you would agree that including interest of our students matter to them. Why? Because when you do something that's relevant to your interest, or to your passion, or to what you would want to do, you would always do it with gladness. So Do our students like to work out, to dance, to get into sports, even if right now we are into distance learning? So later on, I will try to share how Flipgrid was used to create or practice or engage in a virtual sports day. So a friend of mine was able to create an activity, virtual sports day, and parents, teachers, and staff of their school joined in the virtual sports day through Flipgrid application. Next, the letter P, participation is the key. I know you would always agree also, or you would agree with me, that even if we prepared or planned the best learning experiences, if our students will not participate, it's nothing. So we have to make sure that the activities we prepare could encourage children to be active and engaged, so that everyone, whether they have access or they do not have access, can participate to it. So Flipgrid is a way to use or show or demonstrate a particular skill. Whatever skill you are after, Flipgrid could one way show us teachers how our students understand it or how they are progressing towards that skill. Now, for the word grid, so let's start with letter G. So we have to get our students moving. Through what? Moving how? We will not be able to meet them. We will be facing each other through a virtual classroom. That is still possible through the many applications, and one way is Flipgrid. The others, there are so many ways. If you're allowed to use Facebook, if you're allowed to use Instagram, or TikTok, just make sure that when you use all of the applications I've mentioned, you have the approval of your immediate supervisor or principal or your data privacy officers. So going back to getting our students moving, so we can make sure to get them move through challenges. There's a lot of these resources in the internet. Just make sure to get one that's really relatable to your class and that really targets the goals or skills you're teaching. Then games. Games are the best way to capture our students' interest. So there are some games, which traditional games, which have been adapted to PE games. So like the tic-tac-toe, the hopscotch, and many others. And then exercises. So exercises, the most popular and the easiest way to make sure that our students get moving. Then letter R, we have to respond to students' video responses. Why? Because feedback matters to our kids, especially when they are still trying to learn the skill. How would they know they're progressing? How would they know that they are doing it properly or correctly? How would they know that a particular skill needs to be done in a particular way? So, how will you give your response? You will be giving it through in Flipgrid. You have three options. You can use a rubric, you can use a video, you can use the comment. This is how it looks like. In my class, when my students give or shows a video or responds to a topic I gave, so I usually give a video feedback, so it's personalized, although you have the option not to use it. Use whatever you're most comfortable with. Then a grading rubric, I love this part because you can customize it according to the skill you are trying to target. And then comments, of course. Comments are uh, the ones where you just type in what have you seen or what you've observed from your students. Okay, let's now move on to letter I, which focuses on the integration of the 21st skills, the four C's: the communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So when when we give tasks to our students, let's make sure that there's communication, that it's encouraging collaboration, and that when we ask them to critique, we have guide questions that would develop their critical thinking, and lastly, creativity. With Flipgrid, there's so many ways to respond to a particular topic that the teacher assigned to their classes. So I will show how it looks like in a while. So the last letter of the word Flipgrid is letter D, which I think is also important, especially in this setup, the distance learning. Develop a growth mindset. So why growth mindset? Because everything that we will be going to experience in this new normal, we will be facing challenges, we will be facing setbacks, but we have to make our students understand that first attempt in learning is normal. Failing is normal because it helps us and it teaches us a lesson. What worked, what didn't work, what we should try next. So, some Flipgrid lingo or languages. I will not get through it one by one because I'm going to show you the Flipgrid web browser itself. So here we go. All right, just sharing to you the screen of Flipgrid. So we are here already in the Flipgrid screen. So you will find here two things. There's two ways to enter a flip code. This way here, or when you hover down over here. So as a teacher, you just need to give a flip code to your students so they can access the flip code that you get in, and they have to use their school email as well for their privacy. So I will log in as an educator, and then while it's logging in, make sure that when you sign up with an account that's applicable to this. There I am. Thank you so much. It's quick this time. So we will be using the PE Flipgrid community. So, but first, let me show you the tabs here. So my activity, it shows you the summary of what you've been doing in your Flipgrid. My grid, it's the landing page where you create all the tasks for all your classes. Mixtapes are it's a combination of all the best videos your class have or has. Grid Pulse, it's one way to meet different educators in the world. So over here, you'll see the names of the teachers, where are they at in the world and in the map, and who you want to connect to it. So those are grid pulse. If remember, I mentioned collaboration. So this is one way to encourage collaboration. This is the best part of Flipgrid. All right. The disco library. The disco library has a lot of resources. So curated for teachers already. All you have to do is to choose which one works best for you. So if you're a science teacher, find something that's into science, maybe BBC. If you're an English teacher or language teacher, then maybe a vocabulary and maybe a Skype. Or if you're into coding, so choose this one. If you're into reading, choose this one. So if I click on that, the topics are here already. So if you want to use one of these topics, just click on that. So what makes you unique? When you click that, it will prompt you to add this topic. So make sure you have created a grid. So these are all my grids. I can add it up here. If the grid is not yet here, then I can go back and create a new one. So let's go back to creating a grid already. So just a recap, Disco Library offers a lot of topics which you can add on to your grid. So let us go back here to the grid. How do you make a grid? Because this is the most important part. So here we go. So name your grid one FISED webinar, for example. So I'm going to set this into an educator learning community because we are learning together. And then this one is what I love about Flipgrid. You can customize it. So I can just write here, one FISED July, one FISED PH. There you go. So all you have to do is use one FISED to log into this code. So click next, then next again, and here we are. So there's so many ways to share it with your class. You can just copy this or just give the word one FISED PH. Now let's go to the grid so I can show you how to set your topic. So once you created a grid, let me move my icon. Once you created a grid, you will be landing here. So you see there's a pre topic inside the grid, which is saying hello. So I will not change that because you will be saying hello to me. What I wanted to do is that in this topic, you can also add another topic. So for example, I'm going to add questions about Flipgrid in one said ph. There. So uh, record instruction. Record yourself asking questions about Flipgrid. All right. And then once you're done with that, you can set the video recording time from the shortest 15 seconds to the longest 10 minutes. So since it's just a question, maybe 45 minutes would do. So I will write that. The video moderation, this is good if your class is still getting to know each other. So when you toggle that on, that means other students would not see the video your students are responding to. But what I would want to do is to just close it because I want everyone to get to know each other and learn from each other. So focus, that means what would you want to add in this topic? Do you want to add a video, a YouTube, an image, a GIF, or anything from any of these choices? Then after that, you may now create topic. There you go. So I am done creating the topic. In the topic, there's also a flip code. And this one, it's not customizable because it's unique. For every topic that you create, Flipgrid generates a unique code for that. Okay, let me close this one. Now, you already have here the topic that I added in our One Percent webinar grid rather. So how would you respond? So this video, when you click that, that's how you respond to a grid topic. All right. So now I'm going to show you how to respond as a student. As a teacher, you can respond as well, but I would want you to see how it looks like when students log in using the grid code. So for example, I'm going to encode the flip code here. So the flip code over here is, okay, so our flip code is one FISED PH. Then click go to my grid. And then after you click that, you will be directed to this right away to the grid. So as a teacher, you plan your lesson well that would, encourage our students to respond, to join. So notice this is the grid, the one said webinar. So questions about Flipgrid is the topic. The other one, notice here, there's two topics. So if your students, you've created a lot of topics already, just instruct your students to click on that arrow down to choose the topic that they would respond to. All right. So how does it look like? It's the same. So as a student, your student will see this green and white plus button. That's where they would click to be able to record a video. But you will be uh, directed to log in with this one. So let me just go back to the grid. I will log out in this account so I can go back to my educator account. So going through this Flipgrid, just make sure first, what is the purpose of Flipgrid all about? Okay, it has, remember, the Flipgrid is only a tool. The activities, experiences will still be about you, about how you're using it in our classes. Okay, so I'm going to log in as an educator. So because I still wanted to show you how it looks like as an educator and how it can empower you to create lessons, mini lessons. It's so easy. I'm going to show you how. So here we go. I'm going to show you a short one where I've created a welcome message for my fifth grade students this school year. And then after that, I will end this webinar to give time for you to ask questions. Here we go. So to end this webinar, I will show you how I was able to use Flipgrid in my classes aside from PE. So you can use it as well in read alouds in your classroom if you're in early years or if you have a child and you would want to practice them reading. So again, reminder, when you're using Flipgrid, do not get overwhelmed. Start simple so that your students will also appreciate and that you can also give them feedback and assistance whenever it's needed. So here we are. This one is the shorts. It's not a grid inside a grid. So what I'm going to show you is the grids I created for my class. So I'm going to show you this one. Okay, here we go. So, oh, sorry. It's getting to know you. It's the Flipgrid for this school year. So let me go back to the grid again. There's none yet there. No topics. Here we go. So here. Thank you. So this is what I created for my class. So you have here activity. So I made 4 videos. It shows me a count of how many topics already is there and how many videos are there already in that grid. Here we go. So these are the topics I created for my 5th grade. So as a teacher, you can use this. So, oh, hi, I'm back in the One Said webinar. I'm so sorry. Okay, one more try before I go back to our slides in the webinar. This is the old one. This is the new topic I created. A new grid, I mean. There. Okay, oops. What did I do? I'm so sorry. Okay, I will go back to that in a while. Okay, so I will be sharing to you this again. So as a teacher and as a student, I was able to show you how it can empower you. So now, let me end this webinar with this. So when you create a grid, you have a grid code and a topic code. So here we go. So as a student, there's the PE Flipgrid, although I created a new one for you. So this is how it looks like when you access it. And as a teacher, I've shown you, you can sign up using the link I have here for you, or you can sign up on your own. And just a few more reminders for the grid. So in a grid, you can set it by school email, student ID list, or PLC and community. Noticed a while ago, I chose PLC and community because we are learning together. But if you're going to work together with your students, please use school email or student ID list to make sure to keep their data private and to adhere to the Data Privacy Act. And then we move on to this one. Okay, so you may either download Flipgrid or just access it in the browser. That's fine. So we are done with this already. I was able to mention it's customizable, the grid code, but not the topic code. Okay, topic code, it's generated by Flipgrid, but it's unique per topic. And then remember, when you will use Flipgrid, make sure to adhere to the do's and don'ts of your school. And additional information that on ways you can use Flipgrid, you can click on this link. It will be available for you as well. And then ways to flip. This is the one activity I've mentioned a while ago, how Flipgrid was used for a virtual sports day challenge. So look at if you can read all the activities. It's such a very easy activity or physical activities, choices. So imagine the participation that we can get if we allow our students to respond to this type of activities. And then you can also have a virtual reading logs if you're into reading, or you can encourage them to have an obstacle course like this. So as you can see in the photo, it's very simple. It's making use of the things that they can find at their houses. And lastly, in different subjects, science, they can use Flipgrid to show experiments in SS. They can try to explain their ideas, although it's applicable in all of the subjects, even in math. Filipino, how to speak Filipino. If you want your students to practice speaking their English skills, go ahead and do it. The same with art. And then for teachers and students, you've got this. You can demonstrate a skill, you can read a story, you can connect with your students, you can discuss and clarify important points in your units, and you can have a community collaboration. And lastly, you show steps in solving a problem. All right. So let's make sure we give a correct dose of physical education to our students. D for dopamine, O for oxytocin, S for serotonin, and E for endorphins, because we know in this time of pandemic, being physically active will really contribute to a healthy well-being for each one of us. And then remember, when you first introduce Flipgrid to your students, it is recommended to start simple. Always a simple task to become familiar with the platform and speaking up in front of the camera or in one another. Because I wanted to end this webinar with this quote: technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers like you are can be transformational. Okay, so this is Miss Riza, okay, your host for this afternoon in One Said PH. So for more information about Flipgrid, you can find it on your screen. And to connect with me, I have the Sharps and Flats ad Facebook page as well as the One Said Facebook page. Then to connect with me via email, Twitter, or Facebook, it's there in the screen. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone for spending time watching this webinar about Flipgrid. Remember to form positive relationships with our students, to look out for learning opportunities, include their interests, participate, and then get them moving, respond to them in whatever way it's applicable to you, and include and integrate the 21st century skills, and lastly, develop a growth mindset. This is Miss Riza, your Flipgrid webinar host for One Said PH, saying bye.